to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alderman Carroll.
Here.
Alderman Stone.
Here.
Alderman Tripp.
Here.
Alderman Vaccaro.
Here.
Alderman Hunt. Alderman Janetti.
Here.
Alderman Kaslitis.
Here.
Alderman Dempsey.
Here.
Alderman Yelman.
Here.
Alderman Radin. Present. Alderman Short.
Here.
Alderman Henry.
Here.
Alderman Blackwell. Alderman DeLever.
Here.
Both present, 2 absent.
I declare a quorum. Mr. Castellitis, you have your hand up?
I make a motion to accept late communication number 1 and put it on the agenda.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Mr. Josh Short. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Mr. DeLever, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I did. I'd like to make a motion that we move new business so Allison can speak on behalf of the Nature Center as part of communication reports.
Thank you very much. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Mr. Castellitis, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay. Consideration of previous minutes. We had 2 meetings in the last 30 days. The regular meeting on April 11th, and we had a special meeting on May 2nd. I'll entertain a motion. Accept approved minutes. Mr. Vaccaro, and seconded by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Which brings us to public session. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak? I know this is a full crowd here tonight, so if you could please limit your comments to 3 or 4 minutes. Show of hands, please. Sir, with the black hat on. Name and address for the public record, please.
My name's Freddie Masiello. I'm an artist. I'm also known as Floatin' Fred. I live at 158 South Cliff Street in the great city of Ansonia. I'm here to support the arts and support the Valley Arts Council. I just want to say in the 7 years that I've lived in Ansonia, Ansonia does have a lot of heart, as does many other cities and towns. But you can't have too much heart and you can't have too much art. So I am here to support the arts and to support our proposal.
Thank you very much for your input, sir. I see a hand going up and back. Mr. Knapp, and well-known name and address for public record, please.
David Knapp, 3 Glen Drive. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm looking here on the agenda, and I see that the purchase of 65 Main Street and the sale of the ATP and Palmer buildings are on the agenda for executive session tonight.
Yes, sir.
Have all the issues regarding parking and all the stuff been worked out since the last meeting, the public hearing on Tuesday last week? The
Sir,
board has had an opportunity to review and discuss any of the changes and plans.
yes, sir. I'll answer your question. We're going to have a presentation just after public official session on downtown parking. That's what the screen is up for. And there was also a couple of, let's see, did you get the packet on the city's response to the queries? This public record, correct question?
It's on the website.
Did you get this,
I
Dave?
didn't look. I didn't look.
Would you like this?
Sure.
Yeah. Somebody hand this to Mr. Knapp, please.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Of course.
I'm sure it'll be enjoyable reading, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak? Lady just had her hand up, please. Name and address for public record, please.
My name is Betsy Chorney Rosenberg. I live at 36 French Street in Seymour, and I am also here to support the arts. We're very interested in the proposal that's being put forth, and I do hope that it will get a good consideration from all of you folks to support the arts.
Thank you. Gentleman back with his hand up. As if we don't know Ed, just need your name and address for public record, please, Ed.
Edward Maciaci, 21 Castle Lane. I got a suggestion. The old engineer building of Farrell's, right behind the Farrell's, firehouse and the old Farrell's there. Knock that down and turn that into a parking garage. Because inside is all contaminated. It's all mold in there and everything. If you're worried about parking, you can't build a parking garage over in the Farrell's next to this pasture. There's a spring under there. So you're worried about parking, knock that building down, you get a parking garage right there.
You've been in Sheila's office, Ed, or there might be some collusion?
No.
I don't know. Okay.
No?
All right, we're good.
Why is that?
Thank you, sir.
Great minds think alike.
Ed was also right on the police station, too.
His office, you know, getting...
Thank you, Ed. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak? I see a hand in back there, sir, up against the wall. Why don't you come on up?
I just wanted to know if the Boys and Girls Club was on the agenda for tonight.
If what?
The Boys and Girls Club?
Boys and Girls Club. Did you send a letter in, sir? Or?
If I'm not mistaken, I was having it directed you.
Was it mailed in, or did you hand carry it in?
I think she might have mailed it in.
All right, sir. The best way is always, if you want to, be on the agenda, have somebody come into the city and town clerk's office. They time date stamp it in as a public record, and then automatically put you on the agenda. And we look forward to anything the Boys and Girls Club said. The mayor, many of us have been over there to see the nice stuff you're doing over there. Mr. Vaccaro?
I believe Shay wanted you to speak and ask this board for support.
Yes,
You can approach the podium. Yes.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome to speak, sir. You don't have to be on the agenda for that. We just need your name and address for public record, please, sir.
my name is Breon Sanders, and we are on 28 Howard Avenue in Ansonia. I want to say good evening and thank you for allowing me to speak to you this evening. As you're now finding out, my name is Breon Sanders. I am the new unit director and proud unit director of the Joel E. Smilo Clubhouse. My executive director she does send her apologies. She is actually away at a conference right now. I'm here to just share with you some insight and some positive impact that the Boys and Girls Club here in Ansonia has had on the community. I'm so proud of our organization and the work that we do. We are an essential asset to our community. We understand that after-school hours are just as important in a child's life as the time he or she spends in school. Research shows that what happens during the time that they're out of school can definitely have a dramatic impact on reversing the most negative trends facing our youth and in our country. Specifically, youth dropout rates, obesity and violence. 29% of all violent crimes committed by juvenile offenders occur between the times of 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Affirming the importance of the Boys and Girls Club, we strive to provide fun, safe after-school programs and activities in a positive environment. 72% of our members qualify for free or reduced lunch, which means they fall either at or below the poverty line. 27% live in single-parent households. In addition, more than 5% of our members live with someone other than their mother or father. I am here today. Here's another statistic for you. Between 2011 and year 2017, Ansonia High School's graduation rate has increased approximately 20%, and would like to attribute some of that success to our large teen enrollment at the Boys and Girls Club. I'm here today representing our members and our families who rely on us to provide the programs and activities and urge you to continue supporting our efforts, helping the children in Ansonia, especially ones that need us most. Thank you. And if you don't mind, I have a couple of parents here that would like to speak on behalf of the parents of our Boys and Girls Club.
Sir, I just want to ask you a couple of quick questions.
Absolutely.
You provide food in the afternoon?
Yes, we do.
Hot dogs, pizza, stuff like that?
All different types of things, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
you have computers in your facility,
Yes,
sir?
sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir, we do.
and you have, what, teachers and other instructors there?
Yes, we
Okay.
have a lot of college students as well who are studying to be teachers and going to get their master's degrees and things like that as well.
Thank you. I don't want to interrupt your other folks there.
Oh, no, it's no problem. Any other questions?
Mr. Vaccaro, please.
About how many kids do you service from Ansonia?
Service from Ansonia, over 1,000 kids in Ansonia
Wow.
we're serving
Thank you.
each year. Thank you so much for this opportunity. We have a couple of parents who will speak
Please,
as well.
please, who are they, please? Ladies, I just need your name and address for the public record when you get up to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shara Rodriguez, and I reside in 81 Silver Hill Road with my husband and our 2 children. We've been Ansonia residents for almost 17 years, and our boys have been Ansonia Club members since its opening in May 2009. I am saddened to be notified that the Ansonia Clubhouse is possibly being removed from the town's budget. How this is even a topic of conversation is a mystery to me. The Ansonia Club is such a critical part of our children's growth and development. The club provides a safe haven for many of our youth when they're not at home. The Ansonia Club is a refuge. It's their refuge. I consider the Ansonia Club our village. The Ansonia Club is an institution that represents a positive sense of community, and my children really enjoy being members. They are provided with homework assistance by staff members who are always happy to help and challenge my children to think outside of the box, which ultimately improves their cognitive level of functioning. This is our village. The Ansonia Club provides mentorship programs like the Keystone Club, which offers my high school child insight to what it means to become a good citizen and helps to provide him with the tools necessary to be a successful student. Additional opportunities such as volunteering and community services stresses the importance to him of giving back and paying it forward. He has told me on several occasions that he enjoys being part of the Ansonia Club and especially the Keystone Club because he really likes the staff. He finds them very easy to approach and he's comfortable asking questions about anything he would like to know more about. Excuse me. He feels a sense of relatability with them. The Keystone Club has allowed him to be a part of something positive. Actually, this past summer, he, along with 2 other Keystone members, were chosen to attend a college in New Hampshire for the weekend to explore what it's like being on a college campus, and he absolutely loved his time there. He now has aspirations to go to college or construct his own sports complex one day. His membership has helped me to instill a sense of self-esteem and self-worth in him. That speaks volumes coming from a 16-year-old man, especially because this is what our village helped me to achieve. My younger son also enjoys being part of the village, and he too likes participating in the club activities, especially the sports program. He loves having the opportunity to group it up in the gym with the staff members and later brag about how many more points he scored over the staff members. He's also participating in group chat sessions with the Ansonia Police Department when they came to talk about recent police shootings all around the country. He looked forward to asking questions and get their perspective on how they are viewed by the community just by doing their job. The village has helped me to provide my child and children the building blocks necessary to effectively communicate amongst his peers. With these few examples of how an awesome program can provide the major tools required to rear our young men and women into becoming respectful citizens of this country, why would anyone consider disrupting or crippling our village? I implore you to reconsider your decision and keep our village so that we may continue to soar and prosper. Thank you for your opportunity to address you tonight.
Thank you.
Good evening. Lonnie Limas, 23 Mott Street. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you all tonight also. Again, I'm Lonnie Limas. I'm new to the community. I've been here for about 2.5 years now. And I have a son named AJ, who is a 2nd grader, and he attends the Boys and Girls Club. I have a few questions. What kind of legacy will Ansonia have? What kind of legacy do we want to leave behind? Will we be remembered for a major decrease in residents without high school degrees due to the lack of funding for programs that keeps kids in and motivated about school? Will we be remembered for increased crime rates in 2017 and beyond because of loss of funding for programs that physically take kids off the street? The Boys and Girls Club helps to support and shape this community through programs like Diplomas to Degrees, Torch Club, Keystone Club, and many other programs. The Boys and Girls Club is creating positive mentors for my only child. The more informed, educated, involved, and responsible young people we place back into our community, the better shape we place ourselves. These same young people these are the same young people that will give back to the community and bring and keep money in Ansonia. Without support for Boys and Girls Club programs like these, we are not giving our children the best chance of being productive members of this community. AJ will be the college graduating class of 2031. Whether I'm a single parent or not, he needs this whole community to be an example he strives to emulate. Our community children need to continue to be supported. Growing our children grows our community, and Boys and Girls Clubs programs directly support the growth of our children and ultimately our community. What is the legacy that we want to leave behind in Ansonia? We have the chance to write the history of Ansonia's youth, our youth. Let's do the right thing right now and keep the funding for the Boys and Girls Club. As working parents, we all here have taken time out of our busy days to come and address the board. I just hope that your decision wasn't made before we had this time to talk to you all this evening. Thank you.
No, it hasn't, and thank you.
And last but not least, we have a youth here to speak for our youth. This is our Valley Youth of the Year, and she's going to come, and Sabrina is going to briefly address the audience.
If I could just have your name and address. Young lady, please, sir. Her name and address for the public record, please.
28 Howard Ave, Sabrina Maldonado.
You can pull that down if you want to pull that.
Sorry.
There you go.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Sabrina Maldonado, and today I represent the Boys and Girls Club of the Lower Naugatuck Valley as the 2017 Youth of the Year, and I'm here tonight to share a little bit of my story. Coming from a large Hispanic family with older parents who were both not born in the United States has always set me apart from my peers. I am a first-generation child. My parents were accustomed to a different lifestyle and neither had ever attended college. They struggled to speak and comprehend even the slightest bit of English, and at 10 years old, I found myself at a very difficult time in my life. I was shy, easily persuaded, and struggled with self-identity. I needed an outlet, somewhere where I could relate to children just like me. I needed my Boys and Girls Club. After walking into the building, everything that surrounded me quickly exceeded my expectations. The staff greeted me kindly and attentively, and I can remember the sound of kids laughing and playing outside and sneakers squeaking from the gym. Soon after, I began to break through the shell I had created for myself and was exposed to some of the most life-changing and effective programs, including Smart Moves, Healthy Habits, Crocheting, Torch Club, and today, Keystone and Interact Club. These programs gave me the opportunity to grow not only as an individual, but as a part of a team, a family. I gained a sense of assurance and learned the value and importance of helping others, not only my own peers, but people all over the community. I learned how to vocalize my thoughts and use my creativity to innovate ideas. These programs and my time at the club proved to me that I was not the only lost 10-year-old girl with differences only she could understand. I began to embrace my differences instead of being ashamed of them, and learned to use the self-afflictions I once struggled with to make a positive impact in my own club, school, and community. Today, I am proud to be an AP student as well as honor roll student, and I continue to serve as an active member of my club and am now currently a staff. Over the course of 7 years, I have not only been able to meet mentors and role models, but I have been able to become one. Each and every day, I come to my club as a friend and mentor to the peers and younger children who look up to me. I walk into the brick building that shaped my childhood with the sole purpose of helping shape someone else's. Because of my club, I stand before my peers, family, and community as an ambitious, resilient, and capable young woman. I will be the first out of 6 siblings in my family to attend and graduate college, and I will be successful. My club has taught me that my individuality does not put me into a category, and that the adversities I have faced do not define me. By cutting my Boys and Girls Club out of the budget, these programs that changed my life will no longer be funded for, and our club will not be able to support the 3,000 kids we currently care for in all our units, but even more the 1,000 we serve in Ansonia. I've come to know my club as an open door. By cutting funds, not only are we closing a door to refuge, but a door to opportunity for those children who need it most, whether their circumstances be better or much worse than my own. Every child deserves to have an opportunity to grow and succeed. The club, thankfully, was mine, as I know it has been for many others. Your decision to discontinue your support to help us continue with our efforts is truly disheartening. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sabrina. Gentleman with the jacket on, his hand up. Just need your name and address for public record, please.
Yeah.
Robert Kukel, it's Kukiel, Seymour, Connecticut. As part of the American community, we're in American City, right, the Lower Naugatuck Valley. So. Yeah, I'm here in support of the Valley Arts Council. And what happened was about a year or so ago, I met Rich DiCarlo when he took part in a veterans walk, art walk, which included about 9 art galleries in Southern Connecticut. And after that, I joined the street gallery, and I show art there now. I'm a military veteran, I'm a Marine Corps, I'm a Vietnam veteran also.
Thank you.
And I started painting myself about 5 years ago and drawing and so forth, right after I retired. And I've become involved in the veterans art community, which includes the art therapy groups in the West Haven VA, which I don't actually go to, but I have friends who go there, and the Veterans Center, which is in Orange. And so we had the Veterans Art Walk, and then Rich asked me later on, can we do a Veterans Art Show at the East Street Gallery, and we did that. And it was very successful. We had a lot of surprisingly good work, I say surprisingly, well, by veterans. And we hope to continue that work through some veterans outreach, and I've talked to Rich about that, and having some use of the armory would be very helpful toward that. We could use the space for it. I have some experience in that because about 2 years ago, I was volunteering for a number of months down in Tennessee. I came across accidentally when I was visiting an old war buddy, a Vietnam buddy in Memphis. On the way back, I stopped at Johnson City, ran into it. There's an art gallery down there called the Warriors Canvas. And it has become, just in a few years, a vibrant part of the veterans community and the Johnson City community. This is in Eastern Tennessee, where they give free art classes, pottery classes to veterans. It's a part of, and they stress a lot of the art therapy for veterans, and we also deal with the veterans' families. They extend it to the immediate family of the veterans also. It'd be nice to do something like that around here. I've talked with a couple of other veterans about getting involved and doing that kind of activity. I think Ansonia would be a great place to help promote that. The Valley Arts Council has been very helpful toward the veterans community. We are planning, I think, another veterans art show at the East Street Gallery, and hopefully maybe we give some classes to veterans out there, if we have this new space that hopefully will be available. As a veteran myself, I didn't really, I guess I sort of saw it as art therapy when I retired. It was very helpful for me, and I've gotten pretty decent at my art. But what surprised me is that there's some really pretty good art coming out of the veteran community. And to encourage that, and we do have a lot of veterans in the Valley. 2 of my uncles who actually were raised here in Ansonia were World War II veterans. My mom was raised in Ansonia, of course, also. So I'm just talking here in support of hopefully the city of Ansonia will extend itself to support the arts and actually extend that into the veterans community also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I assume you'd also be in favor of preserving the Joe and Willie cartoons on the wall in the Ansonia Armory?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to speak? Lady with her hand up, please. When you get up, I just need your name and address for the public record, please.
Veronica Kude, Wakely Avenue. Help. I've said it before, I'll say it again. That street is a disgrace. Now they're going to be doing the yard. They did my yard last week. I now have 6 inches higher than what I did before because they didn't take the old dirt out. And the other thing, we have Memorial Day coming up. Change the route to Franklin Street. We've done it in the past. But I mean, if some kids coming down there fall and break a leg because they don't watch where they're walking, there's so many holes in the road. I just hope you'll look at it that way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public? Gentleman with his hand up, please. Just need name and address for the public record, please.
Yes, my name is Michael Flynn. I live on 85 Skokrat Street in Seymour. I'm a former resident of Ansonia. I've come here in support of the Valley Arts Council move to the State Armory. I think it would enhance our goals and our abilities to paint, train people. So we would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak? Anyone else from the public? I see a hand up in back. Anna, is it? And just need your name and address for public record when you get up to the podium, please. Thank you.
Anna Andrada, 106 Pulaski Highway, Ansonia. Good evening, members of the Board of Aldermen and residents of Ansonia. In 2010, I was hired by the Della Volpe administration as a part-time bookkeeper in the tax office. In 2013, I began my full-time employment working in Mayor Cassetti's office. As the mayor's administrative assistant, I worked with various departments through 3 budget seasons. I have been the accountant tech since November of 2016, supporting all of the accountants and the acting comptroller, Rich Bashiro, for over a year. As a taxpayer of this city and a lifelong resident, I want to take the opportunity to step up and help the taxpayers of Ansonia. I recognize that fiscal responsibility begins with each one of us. Recently, I was approached by the administration to fill in as a grant specialist for several weeks. This is not uncommon due to a limited City Hall staff. I readily accepted the challenge as I would like to learn more, and I am eager to help out wherever I am needed. I am honored to have been given this privilege and opportunity to expand my knowledge base. Per the union contract, we are granted a 10% raise for filling in a vacancy for at least 6 consecutive days to do any other work above our own classification. Mayor Cassetti and his staff have passed up their raises and will do so again this year. They recognize that the taxpayers expect more from us. As a union member for this great city, I want you to know that I am denying my 10% increase in giving back to the city, but most importantly to all of you, the taxpayers. I will perform both jobs at the same pay that I am receiving now, and it is my sincere hope that I am leading by example. I challenge everyone to step up and forego any increase, especially during this budget season, but also going forward when asked to help out in another department. It's the least we can do for our small, distressed community. The taxpayers deserve more. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Okay, nice. Is there anybody else from the public who would like to speak? Anyone else? Gentleman with black hat on, please. Name and address for public record, please.
Adam Hughes, 67 Meadow Street, Ansonia. I'm just here, I don't have much to say, just in behalf of the Valley Arts Council, that I think it would be a beneficial idea to have space in the Armory, considering that past building is no longer usable for art. So I think it's something that art is something that people need. It's part of our humanity to express ourselves and to be creative. So it's good to have a specific place for that, where people can enjoy that, share ideas, especially for younger people. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak? Anyone from the public who wishes to speak? Third and final time, is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak? Hearing none, seeing none, public session is closed. Thank you all. Public official session. Mayor Cassetti, please.
How's everybody doing tonight? Good evening, members of the Board of Aldermen and residents of the great city of Ansonia. Tonight, we are here to celebrate a number of things. First, let me begin by congratulating Jamie Karras. Is she in the audience? Family's here. Ansonia High School's valedictorian. recognize a young lady who we are very proud of. Her name is Amy DeStefano. In addition to holding 2 jobs, one in our tax office, Amy is solitarian of the Ansonia High School. Amy, thank you for all you do to help the residents of this great city, and thank you for your achievement. Please stand. Okay, well, you already stood. Okay. Amy is here tonight with her mom, Kim, and Dad. How are you? And brother. Okay, thank you for being here. I want to congratulate Caitlin Singh-Phillum. Am I saying it correct? Is she here? Who finished 3rd. Congratulations to everyone in the 2017 class of graduates. We wish you continued success throughout your life. We also celebrate the success of Ansonia High Schools, who has ranked 34th in the U.S. News and World Report rankings for the 2017 Best High School Rankings. According to U.S. News, the award represents schools that have been most successful at preparing students for college. A school must have students with overall who did well in statewide tests and graduate at the high level. I want to congratulate Superintendent Carol Malone, the Ansonia Board of Education, Principal Golson, and former Principal Joe Dobbins for this achievement. I want to also congratulate Coach Vaca on his 40 years as coach of the Ansonia High School baseball team and his 500th win on Monday, May 8th, as the Chargers defeated the Torrington Red Raiders. Coach, you are a legend, and we salute you. Let's have a round of applause for Coach Vaca. I want to draw your attention to one of my board appointments, David Papson. David is a first-year nursing student at Quinnipiac University, and at 18 years old, he is the youngest member ever appointed to the Ansonia Board of Apportionment and Taxation. David is a bright young man with a fabulous career ahead of him, and I am proud to have him serve, and I know he will do well for the city of Ansonia. David, please stand. I know I mentioned that tonight is a night of celebration. On Saturday afternoon, I was on Main Street in Ansonia. The restaurants were crowded. The sidewalks were full, and the crowd spilled out onto the street. I was thrilled to see the activity. Ansonia is being recharged, re-energized. We have awakened from a good long nap for many years. Our city sat with vacant storefronts and abandoned buildings. Tonight, we have a plan to change all that. Tonight, my corporation counsel, John Marini, and Economic Development Director, Grant Administrator, Sheila O'Malley, will discuss again with you the purchase and sale of almost an entire block in our downtown. I have confidence that our corporation counsel negotiated agreements that are in the best interest of the city. I want to thank this board for approving the request for proposals for our 2 city-owned buildings, approving the selection of Charlie Smith and Jerry Nocerino, and authorizing the negotiations of the 2 contracts, one for 153 Main Street and 497 East Main, and the other for the purchase of 65 Main Street. We have done our due diligence, and this board tonight will authorize the final step in this process. Aldermen and residents of this great city, now is not the time for hesitation. Now is not the time to let these buildings sit vacant any longer. Our city is moving in the right direction. Economic development is not about pausing and waiting. It is about action. It is about bringing residents back into the downtown, getting these properties into productive reuse, and reaping the benefits. Let's continue to move forward and recharge this great city. Thank you, and God bless.
Are there any questions from the Alderman for the Mayor? Any questions from the Alderman for the Mayor? No? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Corporation Counsel, Mr. Marini.
Mr. President, as the Mayor alluded to in his speech, tonight in executive session, we are going to discuss some more details with regard to the sale of the ATP Palmer Building and also the purchase of 65 Main Street for the purpose of a new police station in our governmental center. In connection with that, the Mayor's office has put out a large packet of information in response to our public hearing last week. And we were delighted to hear from the residents, to hear different thoughts, concerns, and some suggestions. We essentially took a look at those, the minutes from that meeting, took a look at the major questions that were asked, and made sure that we did our best to answer each one of those important questions. So the packet not only has a lot of answers, but also has a lot of documentation, and we've been able to produce essentially everything that was requested at that time. We're going to talk about it later on as we approach the public official section. The biggest questions that we had at the public hearing were with respect to parking. And while we really believe that a lot of safeguards are built into these agreements in terms of parking, we wanted to take the time to address with both the board and the public the parking situation as it stands for those sites right now, and the parking situation that we're contemplating for the future. It's a work in progress, of course, that all of us in the city have to be a part of, but certainly we want to address that big topic tonight. Other than that, we have a series of ordinances that we're stitching together, working with Police Chief Hale on one of them, going to be giving a couple copies to Alderman Carroll, who heads up our ordinance committee, to consider later on in the month. But of course, the priority as of this time has been the sale of the buildings and the purchase of 65 Main.
Any questions for Mr. Marini from the Alderman? Any questions for Mr. Marini from the Alderman? I see none. Thank you very much, Mr. Marini. Sheila O'Malley, Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Board of Aldermen. I'll keep it brief because we are going to talk, as John mentioned, about the ATP Palmer Building at great length and 65 Main Street. And I have another PowerPoint presentation for everyone. I know you're happy about that. So just very quickly, on the Target site, we approved an environmental group to begin the assessment and remediation work that's needed for that development, for that big box retailer that's anticipated there. But the first step is to get that property cleaned up and assessed and cleaned up. So we're doing that. Let's see, Wakely Avenue, the mayor and Yankee Gas are going out on Friday to look at all of the things that should be done and haven't been done. We've had a lot of problems and a lot of complaints with the contractor for Yankee Gas, and we will be setting up, Alderwoman Radin has asked for a forum, and as well as Alderman Joe Yaman, to discuss Wakely Avenue. Yankee Gas has their project, but we'll also discuss Wakely Avenue, the total reconstruction and rehab of Wakely Avenue. So hopefully we'll schedule that by the end of this month. We'll find out what happens on Friday when the mayor and Mike DeLassio and other public works people will go out there and take a look at that, at the road, and what needs to be done. Still waiting on Prindle, Pulaski, the okay from DOT to add the extra section, and then we'll go out to bid once the design is approved as well. Probably missing some stuff, but I think that's it for now.
Okay, great. Alderman Radin for Sheila O'Malley?
Sheila, I
Yes.
was looking at the city site, and up at the top it said we were going out, or we went out for a bid for a Passway Utilities. What is that? I tried to read it, but I can't read 56 pages.
Yep.
In your time.
For the new development for eventually 501 East Main Street, for 3 businesses that currently exist on Main Street. There's a utility connect that needs to be made from East Main Street to Main Street.
So why is that the responsibility of the city?
That's not the responsibility, but it's part of our revitalization funding.
So we have to pay for it?
We have a grant for that.
I hope so.
We sure do.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions? I'm sure you're eager to get to the PowerPoint.
I know
Yes.
you mentioned the penalty. There was action down there today. Do you know if that's part of that? They were surveying?
Surveying.
something? Yeah.
They're surveying that section.
Yep.
with the
Yes, it
corner.
was. Thank you for bringing that up. Also, the Armory, we're starting with the exterior masonry, and I just want to point out that, that building, if it's utilized, it will help the building, instead of staying vacant and underutilized. Just thought I would add that point. All
Mr.
right.
President.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Henry.
Alderman Henry.
The Riverwalk,
Yes, sir.
what's the status?
So we went out to bid for the Riverwalk, and we're going to begin construction probably in about 2 weeks.
Any other questions of any other alderman? Mr. Charlie Stowe, question for Sheila O'Malley.
Sheila, when you talk about the pointing of the armory,
Repointing, yes.
I believe that came in under budget, didn't it?
It did come in
I
under.
think it was 500,000, and it came in at 3 and change.
Yes, 386.
Are we able to use the remaining money to do more work on the armory, or that's some?
I believe so, but we would need authorization from OPM, and we will get that if we need it. We're not going to give the money back if that's what you're asking.
Well,
Yeah.
so it's probable that it'll be
Probable.
invested in the armory?
Yes, back into the armory.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila, Mr. Stowe. Any other questions from any alderman for Sheila O'Malley? Seeing none, thank you, Sheila. Mr. Martin?
Yes, Mr. President.
How is constituent services rolling along these days?
Very, very busy.
Oh,
Very
that's
busy.
good.
I had a couple of points following up to what Mayor Cassetti was alluding to regarding Coach, Ansonia High School baseball coach Mike Baca. Tomorrow afternoon, everyone is welcome to attend. There will be a brief ceremony before the baseball game versus Oxford. There will be a speech, proclamation, pointing that tomorrow will be Coach Mike Baca Day in Ansonia. Speech, a plaque will be given, and also the Ansonia Athletic Director, Tom Brockett, will also be awarding a plaque as well. So everyone's more than welcome to come out. We'd like to getting a good favorable response from past coaches and players. So we're looking to rally a nice little crowd for the baseball game. And the second point is just, I guess this evening there's a motion from the aldermen for voting on Valley United Way. They'd like to do 2 community gardens in Ansonia.
That's number one, communication number one.
Yep. And I passed out, you should have received about a week and a half ago, some information on it. It's all paid for by the Valley United Way. And there's 2 community gardens, one located on Gaddison Park, and the second one will be opposite Boys Club. So we wait for motion on that.
Thank you. Any questions of the Randy's? So
Yes.
Randy first.
Yeah, your predecessor used to call me up and tell me when events were happening in town. There were a couple of events that happened in the last week that I knew nothing about.
Okay.
I would have shown up. In the future, I would really like it if you call me when there's any event in this town so that myself and fellow Board of Aldermen can show up to it.
Sure. Which events were you on?
One was a big one, the Farrell, up at the New Farrell properties. I didn't know anything about it, and I would have shown up. There was also a fishing rodeo at Ansonia at Colony Park, which is my ward. I didn't know anything about it, and I would have shown up to it.
Okay. I'll make sure on events that I'm informed of, I'll get it out to all the
Thank you.
via email.
Randy,
Okay.
Does all that.
I was just going to say, Dave talked about the fishing thing last meeting. He gave out
The
information.
thing is that when we had the assistant to the mayor before, he would call us, at least I know he'd call me, and let me know when there was an event, and I wrote it down on my calendar and I attended. And I'm asking for the same consideration with this new gentleman.
Certainly. So is
Thank you.
email okay also?
No, that's fine.
Yeah, okay, so I'll make sure there's correspondence on that. Okay, you got it, Randy. Yep.
Any other questions? Joan Rayner from Mr. Martin, please.
Yes.
Greg, I was on the salaries when they did the information on your job, and part of the information on the job was to be a liaison between the citizens of Ansonia and the aldermen.
Yes.
And I feel very left out of everything. I just asked Joe, and I'm very upset. The Fifth Ward is where Farrell's had their open house. They also had their ribbon cutting, which we knew nothing about until I saw the picture in the Valley Independent. As a matter of fact, the Valley Independent keeps me up more on what's going on in town than the city does. But also, we should know if there's a place that's opening. You can email it, and you have a list of all the aldermen. You need the citizens of the city need to know. We don't have in this town right now any kind of a communication, nothing. And we have to get it out. People are upset. They come in and they talk to me and they say, well, why didn't we know about this? Why didn't we know about that? And I just asked Joe a little while ago because I had a customer come in and say they had up at Farrell's, they had open house 2 days up there. And he was going up because he had worked at Farrell's. He was one of the old timers. So I think this is something that's very important. I'm sure the rest of the aldermen would like to know about it too. So if you could just keep us in mind.
Going forward, I'll make sure
Thank you.
everything that crosses my desk will go past everyone else's desk. And if I could just comment on the Farrell opening, that really was their event that they indicated to us that they were going to handle the marketing and promotion of it and the invitations for that. And it really came down to the last hour or two that we found out that.
Well, it would have been nice if you had sent out something in that too.
We'll do.
Mr. Leroy, you had your hand up?
Yes, maybe just a suggestion. On our City of Ansonia website, is there a section where we have upcoming events that we can put these things in so everybody can see them?
Well, it's
because some people don't have emails and then they don't get the email and they don't know about it, but this way everybody gets a chance to.
Since I came on board, I probably listed at least 10 or more on the Ansonia Facebook page, which is listed on the website.
Right.
But, if you go to it daily, there'll always be an update. I constantly get press releases out or follow-ups to events or upcoming events. But as I said, in the future, as these events come across my desk, I'll make sure.
By putting it on the website, it gets to all the residents.
It's always, we've been pretty consistent in getting everything up on Facebook. So.
Any other questions for Mr. Martin from the Alderman? Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Martin. Thank you. Mr. Bashir, Corporation Counsel. Comptroller, the other thing.
He got promoted.
You got promoted.
Finance Department pretty much is status quo. Working on budget, but we're really not going too far. So in the spirit of brevity, I'd like to cede my time to Sheila O'Malley and her presentation.
All right. Like that. Thank you, Rick.
I will add on to my PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.
I'll leave this with Chief Hale.
Yes.
Please. Who is not ceding his time to Sheila. I'm not going to sit through anymore. So anyways, very quickly, two big events coming up. May 21st, Sunday, 2 o'clock, Veterans Memorial, the Woodbridge Avenue Memorial. If you haven't been to that in a while, I encourage you to go. It's a terrific event, a neighborhood event. Shut the street down, the people who run it. Anthony Zante's a driving force behind that. Really terrific job. And of course, the parade is the following week, 2 o'clock on Sunday the 28th. We have 2 police officers graduating from the academy in June. One in June, one in July. We expect to have a minimum of 1 and possibly upwards of 3 going into July. So we're moving forward on that event. Very busy generally across the city, and I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions to the Alderman for Chief Hale? Mr. Carroll.
I'm not going to ask you how you're dealing with it, but okay. The signs for 3rd Street, when will they be going up?
They should be up this week.
Okay.
So it's either, it should be by the end of the week.
Any other questions for Chief Hale? Oh, thank you very much, Chief. Okay. Mr. Mike DeLessio, do you have anything for us?
things. We finally finished our OSHA problem we have for the town. We had some hazard training from PMA, came down and trained all the guys. Fire extinguisher training, asbestos training. We had some protective equipment training. We had, all the guys came, for promotion, so PMA came down, gave some classes for all the guys, which was very helpful. So they're all trained. And what else we have? We had some, we were very busy with bulk this past month. We had 103 bulk stops with 75 bag leaf stops and 17 brush stops. We were very busy with the pickups. We had 2 crews out, 2 trucks going, 4 guys all month. Catch basin repairs, we did 5 this month. We picked up a lot of stop signs, 20 new stop signs, 5 new parking signs. Every one of our guys were out there just moving around, doing different things, catching up with little things here and there. Potholes, we were out there all week. Went through 6 tons of asphalt for potholes, and we're still not done. So there's going to be more on Wakely Avenue we're going to address tomorrow. As you know, we're going to walk through Friday with the gas company being the mayor, so hopefully we can resolve more of the issues. They're out there doing some seeding, the laterals in people's yards. I had some complaints. They're out there trying to scrape off some of the topsoil, redress it. They're not doing as fast as we want them to go, so that's why we have this meeting. Hopefully Friday will resolve a lot of issues on the Wakely Avenue problem. I was there today myself, and it's like a washboard. Hopefully they can resolve some of that problem. I know we're going to be tearing the road up again. They're not going to want to repave it smooth like we would want to see it, because they're going to be cutting across, doing their storm drains. But we'll get the holes done as much as possible, try to keep people happy. That's the best we can do there, but I think everybody we'll address the potholes anyways. Most of them are from the laterals going across the street for sinkholes. Where all this rain we had the last few weeks, all that water's going down, moving to fill, so the ground's sinking. So I got a couple more ton of asphalt tomorrow. We're going to patch some, and then hopefully Friday they send the Feeney brothers out and take care of the rest. That's what we're hoping on. Other than that, we got street sweepers out every day. Hilltop area is finished. They're down in the 2nd ward. We're finishing up. Probably, hopefully, another 2 or 3 weeks. This town will be taking care of it, all the sand. We use a lot of sand this year, so you might see more sand than usual. But that's being taken care of. Catch basin cleaning. We got mostly half of our catch basins done so far this year. We started in the winter, so we're pretty much done with the catch basin cleaning. And we finally finished the sprinkler system in Town Hall, so you won't see the grass burn this year. Hopefully it'll be, sprinkler system will keep it green. That's about it.
Question, Mr. Carroll from Mr. D'Alessio?
Yep. A couple of things. Gaddison Park, the guys came and cleaned it up, but they left gigantic piles in what is the Mills Park. Later this month, we're having you put up the sign in the celebration for that. Could you please make sure that those gigantic piles are gone out of that area of the park?
Yeah, that'll be clean. Sign will be up, flowers around for the dedication.
Yep. Thank you. The graffiti that's on the Ansonia copper and brass, when will that be taken care of?
We took care of it last week. You didn't notice we painted all that brick going to your house. I did that last week.
No.
No, you didn't notice it?
Yeah, I noticed it. It's my driveway.
Yeah, so we painted it all red. we took care of all that on the brick. We painted all that brick all red, brick red, and we went over that graffiti. There's 2 spots on the front that's concrete.
There's 2 gigantic things from somebody who used to live in my condominium.
On the building?
Yeah.
They must have just did it because we just took care of it.
He's in prison.
Randy, we had to send the guys over. Actually, I went over with Mike and myself. We painted the whole front of the building. All that graffiti was.
I'll tell you what. I'll look on the way home tonight. I'll put my spotlights on it, and if I'm wrong, I'll call you. I'll apologize.
No, because we went down the last week. Me and Mike Eman, and we painted the whole front of that building. Got rid of all that graffiti. They might just did it again over the top. You'll see it's red.
I'll call you.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, I'll apologize.
All right.
Publicly.
No, all right.
And the last thing is the basketball hoops in Gaddison Park.
For Don again?
No, the one on the right-hand side, I'm sorry, on the left-hand side where the walkway is, where it has the heart with Mikey Mills.
Right.
Spray paint on it, that has never been replaced.
We replaced that twice last
You
year.
replaced the other one.
Oh, the other one. Oh, the other one's down now.
Both of them are.
Okay.
And I've told the kids that if you replace it this time, that will be the last time I'm going to ask you.
All right. I'll check on that tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Oh, Joan?
Mike, on my corner where the light is and on Jackson Street,
Yes.
they went on to Jackson Street about 100 feet. And the asphalt is up above, usually it's potholes, but it's above. So
Right.
the cars, and it's down below, it's lower. So all night long, my bedroom unfortunately is on that side
Hear
of the
the
building.
thumping.
And you hear them going over that bump, and then across the street where they dug the big hole
Right.
under the light, the trucks and everything are hitting that all hours of the day and night. So if they could just look at that when they go around, and maybe they could flatten it out a little
Yeah,
bit or something.
that's the area we're talking about mostly. The other end, they did a good job. They came up Burns Construction, and they redone the whole area, a good quarter mile. That area, they didn't get a chance to do, and that's where all the water was sitting in that intersection. That's what gave that cave in, and the raise from the wintertime from the frost. But I'll make sure they address that.
Please have them look at it, because like I said, I didn't even notice, I couldn't imagine where the noise was coming from. And I went out
Just
and
the
looked at it
thumping.
today, and it's about that much higher than the road. So
I'll
it
try to
does
work
make
on
a
that
difference.
tomorrow, and then hopefully Friday, Burns can come back and take care of that. I mean, the gas company's aware of it. That's why we have a walkthrough Friday, and hopefully they get right on this.
Thank
So I'll
you.
take care of it tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Oh, wow, a lot of questions. Joe Genetti?
Joe?
Mike, they're paving Derby Avenue in Derby.
Yes.
Is there a reason why all those 10-wheelers gotta park on the side streets in Ansonia? Can't they park in the parking lot on St. Michael's?
Yeah, I know. I don't know why they pick our yard all the time.
They're running the trucks, and I hear people saying they're keeping them up, and
Yeah, they finished. I think they're done with it. This was the last day out. O&G moved all their trucks and their paving equipment this morning, so they should be finished with it.
no, I was on it today.
No?
Oh, not even close.
So they're not parking down our, now, they pulled out there yet, this morning they pulled out everything out of
Well,
our
they
area.
don't do anything during the day. It's at night they're sitting on the side streets and stuff.
Oh, for at night, you mean? I thought it was during,
No, during the night, yeah.
all right, I'll stop and talk to Glenn
Maybe they
tonight.
could park down, I don't know if you have anything to do with them, or...
Yeah, Glenn from the state is handling that. And we have a good relationship with him. I'll actually stop tonight, because they go out, usually 8 o'clock they start.
Around there, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll stop tonight.
Maybe they could park down.
Yeah. Well, they're down that end now. Hopefully they'll go down by St. Michael's and park in that lot.
Yeah.
I'll try to
Funny, they're
push them
doing
down,
different.
move them around.
Yeah.
I'll see if they can move down the other end tonight. I tell them there's a lot of complaints. And
Also, the guys does the street sweeping.
yeah, Tyrone, good,
Perfect.
very good. Thank you.
The street looks really good. Tell me you did a good job.
I will. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think Mr. Castellettis was next.
I just want to say thank you to your staff at Public Works for resolving that water issue.
Oh, good. I appreciate it. I'm glad it's done too.
I appreciate it
It's
a lot.
flowing. Good. Thank you.
And Mr. Henry?
So, which reminds me, I've mentioned to the mayor, Platt Street's got that spring bubbling up. I'm just afraid someday, I know it's a state road, it's going to be a sinkhole there all of a sudden. So if we can put any pressure on them to check that out.
Actually,
that
we
could
called
be
again
good.
Friday. That's Orange DOT garage. I talked to this gentleman, Glenn, that we have a good relationship with. He's supposed to be talking to him for us. They don't want to, the person that's in charge of that area doesn't want to acknowledge it's his problem. And it is. And Glenn knows it, and we saw it ourselves. It is the state's problem. But if somebody falls in, it's going to be everybody's problem. So it was addressed last week, and I'll talk to Glenn again tonight when I talk to him about that.
Mike, why don't you talk to John DeCastro from Pond Lily?
John
He's the
DeCastro?
drainage inspector, the coordinator. He'll
Okay.
fix that.
Okay.
Give him a call.
The other thing is, this nice lady mentioned the parade route, so if maybe you could assess, and perhaps Chief Hale could assess, and Richard DiCarlo could assess, is Wakely Avenue going to be in shape for a parade, or should we change the route? That's probably a good idea to check into.
I mean, it might be a good idea, but just go down Franklin instead of Wakely, because they're never going to fix it totally. And if once you're marching, you're not looking at your floor. it might, somebody could get hurt. It might be a good idea to change it. Run down Franklin instead of Wakely with it. Get off, because it's not a good idea.
Any other questions for Mr. DeLassio? Okay. Mike, thank you very much, sir. Good job for all you guys. Okay, Mr. Jared Hean from ARMS, anything? We got you on the committee reports, but do you have anything else you wanted to add?
I have our monthly report here that I neglected to get to Mrs. Radin earlier. We actually just got back. Ryan and I just got back from doing a pre-trip inspection on our ambulance, on the new ambulances, and we're happy to report that one is about 70% done, should be done beginning of next week, and the other one is about 30% done behind it, and they're figuring by the end of next week.
Oh, good.
And then we'll get them up this way. They'll be lettered. We'll put the radios in them, and then we'll have to go through state inspection and stuff. So I'm figuring around the beginning part of June that you'll start seeing them in town and probably in service, depending on, there's only 2 state inspectors in the whole state, so depending on her schedule, that's when they'll be in service. But we'll say we do have a communication in front of you tonight to actually retrofit our 2013 ambulance to remove the air suspension and put in a liquid spring suspension. Ryan and I got a very in-depth look at that while we were down there at the factory, because the new ones are coming in with them. This suspension was actually derived in a rock quarry because of how bumpy that everything is in there, and the airbags kept blowing. So we'll be fully equipped for Wakely Avenue with the 2 new ones. And it's the other thing tonight, and Alderwoman Radin, you'll be happy if you ever do have the opportunity to take the ambulance again. We'll have you in a quality ride this time. We responded to 257 calls last month. We did 10 mutual aid calls to Derby and 2 to Seymour. We passed 2 calls on the overnight and 1 third call. So we had 3 coming in. We had 125 to Griffin, 13 to Yale, and then various others. And most of the out-of-town stuff has been due to the diversions. Griffin continues. They were on diversion for the last 2 days. They weren't accepting anyone, psychiatric, alcohol, any type of abuse, anything like that. So we've been going out of town pretty much for the last 2 days. The stats are on the back as far as the different call types, and we collected last month $55,603.84. And we do have some communications in front of you for the capital improvement plan. Our commission voted on all of those favorably, and we hope you will do the same. And I don't know, Alderwoman, if you have anything else you want to add.
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, Saturday I was listening to the scanner, and there was a call from Derby for mutual aid, and there was a woman having a seizure, and I'm sure that your ambulance didn't stop and check and see how much wear and tear there was going to be on it before they went to help that lady, because within about another hour I also heard a mutual aid going to Trumbull from Shelton, but it was the fire department. So we do mutual aid, and I'm sure we don't stop and check and see how much wear and tear there is on the equipment.
Saturday, no, we don't stop on anything like that. If the call comes in, we respond accordingly. But just so everyone is aware, Saturday was a very busy day in the Valley. ARMS alone, we did, I believe it was 18 or 19 calls in a 24-hour period, and that's a pretty significant amount of calls for us. And the Valley itself was busy. So usually when one town gets busy, it kind of trickles on to the next, because we do back each other up. And if you did hear a lot of sirens on Saturday, we were running around. So, thank you.
Any questions of the Alderman for Jared while he's here? Okay, thank you, Jared.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Sheila, Allison, do you have a PowerPoint presentation, or how are you presenting?
No, I don't have a PowerPoint.
Okay, all right. Sheila, is it okay if we switch you and Allison? Sure. Okay, so Allison's just going to give her a little spiel, and then your PowerPoint. Is that okay?
Yes.
Is that okay, Frank?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Allison, could you please tell us what's going on with the Jewel of Ansonia, the Ansonia Nature Center.
Good evening. It's nice to see all of you again. So there's a lot of stuff going on at the Nature Center. If you haven't been up there, take a ride up. The parking lot is almost completed. It's absolutely gorgeous. And we had torrential rain on Friday, and the bioswale worked perfectly because the rain all went into the swale, and that's what was supposed to happen. So Friday was a good test of the design of the parking lot. The front entrance, we've gained green area in front of the building, and the people that have been coming in are just head over heels. They just think it's phenomenal. The playground is closed right now. We're waiting for the city's insurance to come and inspect. We did have to do some minor, adjustments to some of the playground equipment, and then I met with Don Smith, the engineer, and game time today, and we were talking about some phase 2 of the project, which is the ADA compliant piece of the project. So we were talking about different pieces of equipment we can add to the playground to add to the ADA compliant. And then we also received a grant from the state of Connecticut, from the Department of Economic and Community Development, and we're going to be putting a walk, an ADA walk from the building to the playground. So now that we have the new parking lot, we have handicap parking, which we never had before. We have an accessible ramp going into the building, and now we'll have an accessible ramp going into the playground. We also had our assessment report done, and if any of you want a copy of that, it's like this thick. So I have a PDF file on my computer. I can email it to you. I have extra booklets at the Nature Center you can take. They bullet pointed things that need to get done within a year for the building, to update the building. We had people come and bid on doing hand railings, because if you've been to the Nature Center, you know it's all stairs up and down. And so the only handicap area is the central space in the bathrooms. So they're going to add railings to the existing railings that really aren't really beneficial. And the Nature Center applied for a grant through Valley Community Foundation for something called a super track, which is actually a wheelchair. It's kind of like a little tank. I don't even know how to explain it, but you can actually take somebody in a wheelchair, put them on this super track, and go up and down the stairs, so they can go into every single bay of the Nature Center without doing major ramps in the building. This piece of equipment is about $10,000. The Friends of the Ansonia Nature Center, what they usually do is take one major project a year, because they're such a small group, that they like to work on. And last year was the playground, and this year they wanted to look at the super track. So I applied for a grant through the Valley Community Foundation, but it was we weren't granted the money for the super track. So I have a meeting tomorrow night with the Friends of the Ansonia Nature Center, and then we'll talk a little bit more on how we can either apply for another grant somewhere else. If anybody has any ideas of places we can apply for grants for, handicap, type grants, that would be wonderful. So it's great. So the Nature Center is going into the 21st century. And as all of you know, the Nature Center has had a huge turnover. We have a brand new city administration. The Nature has a brand new administration. And the Friends of the Nature Center has a brand new administration. And so in 2009, when Donna Lindgren was the director of the Nature Center, we had a team of experts from the United States called ANCA. It was the Association for Nature Center Administrators come and do a team consult. They did a consult for the Nature Center and came up with a plan for the Nature Center, and we have completed over 90% of that plan. So I really feel like this is the time when we're doing all these wonderful renovations and we have this new administration in all different parts. We all need to be on the same train. We all need to have a common vision, because I feel like we're kind of all over the place right now, because the last plan is almost complete. And now we have new people in the Friends, the Nature Center staff is completely transformed, and so has the city. So I think if we all come together and have this consult done, it will put us all on the same track, because they take information from the different investors of the Nature Center. They'll take the information from the Board of Aldermen and the city officials. They take the information from the staff of the Nature Center, and they take information from the Friends of the Nature Center, and they take all that information and those ideas, and they come up with a business plan for the park. I think this would really benefit, and I did make a printout for you. I talked to Jen Levy from ENCA, and she said there's scholarships that we can apply for. The scholarship is in October. And I would like to go to the Friends tomorrow night and ask them, is this something we should look at doing again? It's been since 2009, and we finished almost 92% of the old report. And parking lot was in that report, so I'm really happy that I was able to take the marker and go, check, that's checked off. So we had a plan, and we were able to go through that plan and check off things that we wanted to change at the Nature Center to make it even better. And that plan is almost completed, and I think now that we have the assessment report done that we paid a lot of money for, and we had the habitat assessment done by Audubon, and we have all these great things happening up there, it's time to kind of reassess it and look at that as another plan and this is what I would like to see happen. I've been with the Nature Center for 19 years, and if I can leave one thing, and this is going to be really important for me, and this is what I really would like to leave the Nature Center, is a plan. Because there was no business plan when I became the director. And I would like to hand that over to the next director and say, this is how it's run. So they're not like, oh, I was able to make it work because I worked there so many years before. But having somebody brand new that hasn't worked at the Nature Center before, that eventually might take over as director someday, having a nice, solid business plan that this is how these are the policies and this is how it's run, I think would really benefit our future director of the Nature Center. And so that's what I would like to leave. And it's like the Boys and Girls Club, you've got to leave a legacy. And that's what I would like to leave. I'd like to leave that plan for a future director to be able to have a very clear vision from everybody, from all the
Allison, I'm sure the expertise is in this chamber, and I'm sure that City Hall, working with other select individuals in this chamber, I think that a plan could be put together, and we could have a very, very good business plan for you. Maybe somebody can grab that from City Hall and gather up a couple of select individuals. Seeing some nods there, so you
that
should
would
be
be
good.
great. So, I mean, we did start, I know Dr. Schuer and I have been working on the interns, and I actually had them all typed up, all the different job descriptions for the different volunteer jobs, and I sent them over to Dr. Schuer, and he took them and combined them into one nice sheet, and he's gonna, I had just some edits that I had to make, and he's gonna send those out to the different colleges for college interns. So that's exciting. And also, we did receive a $3,000 grant from the Watershed Fund. He actually came to the Nature Center the other day to let us know the good news, and we'll be able to, we're going to be able to do the education stations with the curriculum and the backpacks and everything. And I'm hoping in September we can have a teacher workshop and the teachers can go around and utilize the stations, and we can get evaluations back from how they tie in with the science standards for Ansonia. So that's exciting, and there's a lot more that I haven't talked about, but I'm sure when you come up there, we're teaching classes to children. We have Charger Club every week, and then the kids come to the Nation, and then they go to Boys and Girls Clubs. Boys and Girls Club is a phenomenal facility. I mean, the Nature Center and Boys and Girls Club work hand in hand with those children, and I can't say enough about Keystone Leaders Club. I've had quite a few students of mine. There's one in particular, she's at Emmett O'Brien now, and she was like a leader of Keystone Leaders Club. Phenomenal youth that is the future of Ansonia, and that came from that Keystone Leaders Club that she was belonged to. So I just like to see those programs keep running, and that these children have the opportunity to be part of our community, and we're part of their community too. So,
Thank you, Allison. Any questions of the Alderman for Allison? Mr. Josh Short.
Is the anchor, is that like a 10-year plan?
So it could be as long as you want. It just happened that it took us over 10 years to pretty much mark off everything we did in the last report. There's still some things in the report, that was done such a long time ago that some of the stuff is obsolete now. So it could be a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. Sometimes things change because of finances, and it's a good way to have, like, okay, this is what we're doing. We're going to start here, and then we'll do this and this. It helps. Because of this last plan we did, 92% of it. It's helped us.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, Allison, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Which brings us to Sheila O'Malley, and you have some PowerPoint presentation
This
for us?
is exciting.
All righty.
Co-presentation. I don't know which way to stand. So.
Except you use cars like.
I'm facing the residents, I stand the other way, I'm facing you guys, my back up there.
No, you're fine.
Exactly.
There were a lot of, I don't think I need a mic though. There were a lot of questions raised about parking with the new development, new buildings coming online, eventually coming online. 501 is not one of the buildings that's coming online. There were questions about that, and that's a separate issue, and that's to be developed. So what we're going to concentrate now on, and we have been doing a lot of research about parking, knowing that that was going to be a problem even before the purchase and sale of these buildings occurred. So,
As Sheila said, parking was a big topic at the hearing, so we wanted to really drill down into parking a little bit in general and as it relates to the buildings that we're considering purchasing and selling. So when it comes to the purchase of 65 Main Street, it's really administration's position that parking is satisfactory there. We're getting 2 indoor lots. Each of the lots is 50 parking spaces. It's going to be used for both the public and for police. And while the exact allocation is to be determined, it does give us 100 spaces inside the building for parking. Additionally, part of the agreement that we're pursuing is to co-own that lot right there, the lot that's adjacent to 65 Main. What's really important, what we really want to clarify to both the aldermen and the public, the city does not own that lot. The city has no interest in that lot at all right now. There was a month-to-month lease with the Farrell Corporation. It could have been terminated at any time at the request of Farrell. Now, it's no longer owned by Farrell, it's owned by Shaw Growth Ventures. And so, at the present time, we're very vulnerable. At the present time, if Shaw Growth Ventures decided to develop 501, which is the property to the left, 65 Main Street, where the police station would be, the property, the brick building is to the right. At any given time, Shaw could say, you don't get the lot anymore. And the city would be absolutely powerless to do anything about it. We lose spaces for downtown, we would lose spaces for any of our projects. So that's where that co-ownership is. Co-ownership is better than a lease. Is it as good as total ownership? Maybe not. But of course, remember, Shaw Growth Ventures has its own projects it wants to go forward on. If they want to develop their own building, they're going to need parking too. And so it's very hard to imagine a scenario where they're actually going to be okay relinquishing control of that lot that they currently own. So that's
that lot
65.
is 50 spaces, and then just above it where that red car is another 30 spaces, so a total about 80 spaces combined.
Yeah, so a little over 80 spaces outside, 100 spaces inside. We believe that is enough to support police station, functions, senior center, and other municipal uses. In and of itself, regardless of any other plan. In terms of the ATP Palmer, now this is important because what's been proposed is are residential units, 90 residential units. Now we're looking at single family, we're looking at market rate, but it's important to note that if there are going to be 90 residential units, there has to be something done about parking. There has to be some expansion on parking in the area. Now, there's a number of different ways to approach this. The city is working on plans to expand municipal parking. We're going to talk about that tonight. There are some plans that the developers themselves have. But that we can't really tell you because those are the developers' plans, and until they're comfortable proposing it, not the time. But what should give everyone reassurance, the aldermen and the public, is that this agreement that we're looking at tonight does not transfer the ownership of the building right away. It puts the burden on the developer to submit a site plan and go to the land use boards to get approval. Approval of everything, including parking. So until a parking plan is approved by planning and zoning, money will not exchange hands. The buildings won't exchange hands. If the developer can't get those approvals, the deal will not go through. So there's an ultimate protection for the city and for the taxpayers. The developer gets a green light to go ahead and spend money for the site plan, for the engineering, to make submissions to the boards. They will need to satisfy parking. If it doesn't happen, the deal doesn't go through. So we feel at this point there are adequate protections to start moving.
And there's a reason why some of these buildings have been left over. I've talked about this in other alderman meetings. Part of those, some of those reasons are contamination. Some of those reasons are lack of parking. Sometimes the site is inverted. It's not worth what you're going to pay to develop it. And that's where the city needs to come in and partner. So you need to incentivize development. And how can we help with parking? And that's what we want to share with you a little bit.
And as Sheila mentioned, the future of development. So what about other properties downtown, especially the big hulking one right in the middle of these two buildings? So between ATP and Palmer and between 65 is this thing, 501. This is the building that's smashed. This is the building that has a light lien on top of it, $2 million of light lien that we put on. The important thing to remember is While the developers may be interested in doing commercial and residential here, no site plan has been submitted. Nothing is currently before the board or any other board in the city right now for that. And again, there is a blight lien on it. The blight lien would have to be removed by this board of aldermen before anything can be done in that building. They can't do anything until that lien is removed. So it's important to realize that that has its own set of approvals and its own set of hurdles. And so again, to be concerned about parking for potential units for that building, right now we want to look at ways to expand, but it certainly doesn't prohibit moving forward on the agreements before the board. And what's going to happen here is entirely separate. You can think about it down the road, but if they didn't have appropriate parking when they make their submittals, they wouldn't get approved. Quite simply, the project wouldn't go forward. So now the bigger question is, so what are we thinking about long-term to increase municipal parking downtown? There are a lot of different scenarios, and we've been working very hard with our city engineers and the state of Connecticut and a bunch of different options for expanding municipal parking. And we're going to show you one specific idea that we believe is very viable, but remember, none of this is completely connected to the agreements. This is all something that eventually will have to go through its own hurdles, its own approval process, have to go through planning and zoning. This is not the definite plan. It's just one way that parking could be addressed.
If you it's not big enough to, well, you can kind of get an idea. This is East Main Street, and it's called Scheme G. So we've been through about 6 or 7 iterations of trying to figure out how to get more parking on East Main Street. I don't know if you can see their diagonal parking on both sides. This, Chief, don't worry, isn't the last concept that we have. So this will create 104 additional parking spaces all along East Main Street on both sides. The plan is, and hopefully to coexist with the police department, to make East Main Street one way, partially make it one way, and have a cul-de-sac to turn around at the end of. I wish I had a point. Oh, pointer! I have a human
pointer. This is Eagle Hose, point of reference.
Yep.
Eagle Hose.
Right. So the idea would be to make East Main Street one way partially, so as not to interfere with the police department and their activities. But this is one of the drawings. Again, it's 104 additional spaces, a good alternative to create more parking on East Main Street.
And it shows there are ways to grow the parking. 104 spaces is extremely significant. It's municipal parking, so it could be used for city buildings. But the important thing is developers could use adjacent municipal lots to count towards their parking requirement. So this is one potential approach.
So in 2007, the Planning and Zoning Commission commissioned a study to do a downtown parking study, which I thought was a very good study. A number of recommendations came out of that. Obviously, it's an older study, and we're working on updating that. But one of the important points in this study was that we do have a lot of parking. We're just not using it as wisely as we should use it. And so, if you maybe go to the. So, how do you reuse and maximize the available space? I don't know why. Sorry about that. But so how do you maximize the space that we currently have? The large parking lot on East Main Street, the Main Street parking lot that's attached to the 65 Main Street. Part of what they were suggesting was, relining and reshaping those parking lots so that you can create more space simply by doing something as little as restriping parking lots to create additional space. So obviously, you're repurposing. That's what I talked about, relining and perhaps making wider East Main parking lot or longer. And you're repurposing vacant buildings, and you're repurposing the lots that accompany them.
And you do have a lot of vacant buildings in the downtown area. Many of them are transferring ownership, so there is a potential to take buildings down and create more parking spaces. But the study was very clear because the study did not conclude that we were maxed out for parking. it actually concluded that with the amount of economic activity over the last 10 years, there was much more than ample parking. There was an excess of parking. With more economic development activity, that's exactly what's happening. Now we need to update the study and now figure out exactly how we're going to repurpose all the property. And that's exactly what Sheila's ordered, an update on that study.
Repurposing East Main Street, we already covered. We're gonna try to create parking on both sides of East Main Street, maybe changing the direction, or changing the one-way traffic.
But essentially, we're following what the recommendations of the report were.
Exactly.
So the East Main Street project, that recommendation to pursue something like that, it does very much come from the existing study. And repurposing the buildings, so again, there's, each of the buildings have different traits. Some of the buildings can be potentially demolished. Other buildings, there's actually a potential for parking in the basement areas. So again, we're talking about private property. We're talking about site plans that have yet to be put forth by private developers. We really can't tip their hat for them. But there's been a lot of discussions with potential developers about what they would need for a successful project. Because at the end of the day, it's their application that has to be approved. What the city could do is just try to maximize as much municipal space as possible. And that really brings us to something we were really excited about. And again, it's another potential. It's something we've been meeting with the state on, but we believe there will be funding available for a parking garage downtown. The question is strategically, where does the parking garage go?
As John mentioned, the State Department of Economic and Community Development is very interested in all the activity that's occurring on East Main Street and Main Street, and they have already committed to funding. We do have some grant money from the state DECD, and they've indicated to us that they would invest in a parking garage, or at least a two elevated level parking garage. Question? Yes.
The Farrell Engineer Building, knock that down to turn that to a parking garage.
The older
Engineer Building between Farrell, between the new Farrell and Firehouse. The old Engineer Building.
We're doing a phase one on that. We're taking a look at the conditions, and assessing the condition of the building. That will determine what the highest.
Fell out of here last weekend.
The
Two whole windows fell right out of that building.
They fall in or they fall out at.
They fell out facing the fire escape.
All right, that's not good.
Yeah. Ed actually put some good information out during the public session to show how the development process has been going. Originally, we thought maybe a garage in the existing East Main lot that most people park in as a city hall. That might make sense. But we've looked at the deed restrictions and realized that there actually is a spring under the ground. There are deed restrictions forbidding the city from digging underground. We're now exploring that to see essentially, is that credible? Is that still the case? But if that lot is not viable, then plans for a garage would have to shift somewhere else. Is there a vacant building, for example, that the city would have a legitimate public use for to turn into a garage area? Or is there another area that would suit it? So this is all stuff that we've been studying, but now as we go forward, now is certainly the time to be rolling out these ideas and trying to make it a concrete reality so we have enough parking.
And another indicator in the study was to use the space that we currently have wisely. Again, restriping, and one of the things that we're looking at is privatization of our parking lots. A lot of people have remarked, somebody in the audience has said, that the parking lot on East Main Street and West Main Street sometimes serves as a commuter parking lot. People park their cars overnight. There's no space, really no space for people who are working here or who are shopping or going to the restaurant, so they're taking up those spaces. And one of the things we're looking at is kiosks, which other cities are doing and have done for quite some time.
It doesn't have to be privatization. It doesn't have to be selling a lot from private owner. It could be actually the city. We're looking into the city getting grant funds, put kiosks out, to make sure people aren't abusing the existing parking. As we believe after looking into this for some time, a lot of the existing space is being taken up by individuals who are simply parking and leaving their car there, sometimes overnight. So you're not making the most of the parking that already exists. People are either just storing their car there or they're parking it all day. And parking is at a premium that just can't happen.
So Planning and Zoning Commission, I just wanted to remind everyone that that's our protection for the taxpayers. Jared Keon is here, he's the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission. We were going to have Dave Elder, but he couldn't make it tonight, but talk a little bit about the process. But there is a site plan review, of course, and nothing is final until all approvals, all zoning board approvals are granted. So just so you know that that's a process. Planning and zoning ensures there's enough parking. They ensure that there's setbacks and requirements are met, and they ultimately approve the site plan. So that's our safeguard, planning and zoning. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Jared, or?
All of our meetings are open, they're all public. Anything that's in our current regulations that require a public hearing, we will have a public hearing. The developers will be required to do that. The plan, our downtown plan is all laid out, all the requirements are all laid out. Planning and Zoning Commission does not have the authority to modify any plans or anything like that. We just determine if it meets our current existing regulations. So there's no federal waivers or anything that can be things like that. All of our meetings are open. We do have professional staff. Our planner, Dave Elder, is phenomenal. And we are very anxious and looking forward to getting down to work on this. We would like everybody to come to our meetings and work with us.
It could be said that parking is a challenge. And parking is the challenge that we want to meet. A thriving downtown is going to be a busy downtown. And we have the developers at the table, we have the projects at the table. Now the challenge is facing us. We're up to it. We have the ability, not only for the Board of Aldermen, but of course planning and zoning, to make sure not only that we meet the requirements, but that it's done right. Protecting our taxpayers and developing a prudent, conservative manner downtown. So we want to move forward, of course, but we're moving forward with safeguards, protections, and really now the ability to craft a great plan to drive the state forward.
That's it. Part 2 next month? No, I'm just joking.
Question from Alderman Carroll?
Yes.
Yeah, Sheila, a couple of questions. On the parking lot next to the new police station that we're going to be co-owners of, you were there when the economic development granted the landowner across the street the parking spaces because he didn't have parking spaces for his tenants that live in the buildings. What will happen to those spaces?
So you're talking about the one, the East Main Street, the Main Street one?
Yeah.
Yep. So I think this, no, you're actually talking about the West Main Street parking lot.
I'm talking about the one next to the new police station that we're going to co-own with Shaw.
Okay.
So the 65 Main lot, who's parking there now?
Residents, he's saying residents are parking there.
No, you were at the same meeting I was at with economic development. The owner of across the street went before them. He didn't have parking for the tenants that are living in those buildings before Main Street.
Exactly.
So economic development,
Since we lease, it could count towards the parking.
If you live within 800 feet of a public parking.
And that's,
Okay, so they're not going to lose their parking.
and that's why I would say, that's why it's very important that we do have a co-ownership agreement or some agreement, a secure agreement on that lot. Because if we didn't purchase the lot, if we allowed Shaw to keep it, they could yank that out at any time, and that would not only disrupt our own parking situation, any other developer that counted that towards their parking requirement, they lose that too.
The other question is on D9. What's the difference between the plan that was put before the same plan? I've seen the plan at the meetings that you and I go to, same plan that Mayor Clifford once proposed.
I wasn't here for that,
Yeah,
but
you're the one that gave him the map.
I gave.
Planning and zoning and economic development.
Well, I've given them
Is this
some
the one
conceptual renderings and plans. We had like 6 schemes.
This was the one right across the street, where we dug out the hill.
Yep.
That was proposed by Mayor Clifford. It was stamped in by Madeline DePone, the map.
So that plan, because the mayor Cassetti also talked about that
Yeah.
plan to dig into the, carve out will be very costly due to a retaining wall that would be needed, because of the slope and because, the degree at which you're gonna.
So that basically is not on the...
Yeah, we looked at that and we got some engineering estimates and they're pretty high.
Okay, thank you.
But,
Well, that was still an idea, and as we continue to look for different ideas, of course, the question is how do we do it in the best way and in a way that, of course, the city can afford as well. The slope idea seems like a strong idea, but when you start to look into the difficulties, like the owners that own the slope, the cost of digging it out, the potential of the spring underneath being a problem for building the structure on it, you want to look, is there another option that's easier and that gets just as much of a benefit? So this one right now, the one we showed for East Main, that looks to be one of the better ones. But is it done? Of course not. This one, planning and zoning are going to be working on.
Right.
That we were talking about, planning and zoning and economics, if that was still
you
viable.
threw me with the Mayor Clifford thing.
He's the one that proposed it.
So he proposed an expansion of the East
I
Main
did not
Street as
know
well?
that.
Yeah, but it kind of, it makes sense. Anybody looking to expand municipal parking, they're kind of going to go to the same probably 4 or 5 areas. Small downtown.
Any other questions?
Any other questions from the Alderman for Sheila Malley? Okay, thank you very much for the presentation, Sheila. Committee reports. Finance Committee, Mr. Stowe.
To pay all bills if found to be correct.
Second.
Second by Ms. Castellano. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. We have some vote recommendations. I will entertain a motion to, pardon me?
What happened to all the committee reports?
Oh, wait a minute, skipping ahead. Staying on Charlie. Okay. Committee reports, also Public Works Committee. Mike DeLessio, you basically covered all that, right, Charlie? Okay. Arms Committee, Joan?
Jared covered all that.
Jared covered everything?
We just had one thing to that I forgot.
Under Joan's time, yes.
We are, again, plagued with an issue with our building, with the HVAC. And I met with Mike Alessio this week, we met with the mayor. It has not worked since January in half the building, and they're telling us now that it's some type of software, something or other. We've decided to retain a company that can come in and evaluate to make sure that everything was done the way that it was supposed to, the way that it was designed to date. And then if we had to seek some type of restitution if it wasn't done correctly. I don't know if it is or if it isn't. I'm not an expert in that. That's not my thing. All I know is my office is either 30 or 110, and it rains in the building. It's still occurring, so we did meet, but I wanted the board to be aware that if you see something coming across your way, we did discuss it at our commission meeting as well. If you did see something about it, I just wanted the full board to be aware that we are in the process of trying to get this done. We used an engineer when we went out to bid for all this stuff. Everything was stamped, certified by the engineer. We don't have anyone on staff in this city that can evaluate it properly, so we are bringing in a third party to evaluate it to see what's going on, to all the issues that are going on over there.
Mr. Carroll, please.
Is this the mold problem that you showed me in the building?
It's part of that. That still occurred. That was a while ago.
A long time ago. Thank you.
Jared, I hear what you're saying, but like Alderwoman Radin, Charlie Stowe, myself, I'm going on my 6th year of being an alderman. And for 6 years, we've had engineers in there, we've had mechanical companies in there, and every time this engineer has a solution, this heating and air conditioning company has a solution, it seems like it's fixed for all of 6 months, and then it keeps coming back. I mean, and all these people are taking our money. I'm just befuddled, Jared. I
share the same. We're living it. I get employee complaints constantly. They've had space heaters in the bunk rooms since January.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do. I mean, I'm not a building
you know, I've talked to Mr., unfortunately, he's not here tonight, but Mr. Blackwell is your Arms Commission Chairman, and over the years, I've spoken with him about it, and there was something about the air handling equipment, the air conditioning, heating units, they're not properly, you know, installed, or, you know, went back to the original manufacturer, who is no longer around, the person installed is no longer around. There's a question as how the certificate of occupancy was done on that. I just, you know.
No one happier than us to have it resolved as well, trust me. Mike, I don't know if you want to add into anything with this.
The person that Jared's hiring is professional in this field, and he does air balancing. The engineers we have do the job, they go by specifications. Tonnage on airflow, they didn't balance it right on day one. There's not enough return, not enough makeup air. These gentlemen we bring it in, what he does for a living is calculates makeup air compared to tonnage for the building. We have too much tonnage of air conditioning, bringing that mold, there's not enough makeup air to get rid of the moisture. And this gentleman could calculate that number. The other guys we had didn't do it right. Been messed up since day one. This gentleman here, if he comes in for 2-3 hours, he's got to give us a number, tell us what's wrong with it, and I think we can go after our installer that did it, make the repair. It wasn't done correctly in the first place.
Well, I know, Mike, the city's been spending the money. I know all these people that weren't doing it right were all getting paid.
They were getting paid.
You know.
That's why we're bringing in a consultant to make sure that the money that we did spend was done appropriately, because we don't have anyone on staff
Right.
that knows if it was done. You know, I mean, there's drawings, there's stamped drawings, the city retained an engineer for that.
Okay.
We're bringing this individual in to make sure that the investment that we made was protected and is protected. And if it's not, Attorney Marie and I have discussed, you know, some type of reverse action.
Well, yeah, I mean, because these people have all been.
I don't want to throw that out there that
Right.
it's wrong, but, you know, this is way beyond my level of.
Yeah.
I just deal with the employee side of it. You know, Mike's tried to shepherd this group. He came in at the end of the project. Well, we're to the point where we need an industry expert, third-party individual
Right.
to come in here and evaluate and make sure that our assets are protected.
Yeah, because I'm sure all these people came in saying, oh, yeah, this is what the problem is, you do this, you pay me, and it gets fixed. And then 2 months later, we're right back to square one.
It's awful.
Yeah, all right. I empathize with your situation, Jared. Okay. Thank you very much. So noted.
Thank you.
Okay. His arms. WPCA, Mr. Stowe, anything to add?
The WPCA Commission is going to research the sewer lines, find, old maps and such, so that we can be helpful to the process of this development that we're talking about tonight. We want to make sure we have the blueprints, because some of the plans we feel are going to be more difficult to find than others because of the different places they've been.
But
since Clark and Pearson. So we're hoping to find enough of the lines to be helpful to make sure that there's the proper flows for the new development.
But the WPCA plant, North Division, has plenty of capacity, correct?
They believe they have much more than they need. But that'll be answered too by the time, when the zoning answers and everybody else, that'll be answered too.
Understood. Thank you, Mr. Stowe.
Yep.
Fire Commission, Mr. Pat Henry, please.
The Ansonia Fire Department reported to 64 calls this month. I'll just hit some highlights. 10 motor vehicle assists, 10 smoke or odor investigations, 5 grass/brush fires, 2 structure fires, 4 propane leaks, 13 false alarms, 4 electrical hazards. And for the information for Allison Rudelman, about an hour ago, a call went into the corner of Ben Street in Milan for a brush fire. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Henry. Thank you. Ordinance Committee, Mr. Carroll.
I'm glad to hear from our corporate counsel that I'll finally be getting the ordinance material for the snow, the sidewalks and snow, and also with the chief asked me about trailers.
And also illegal apartments.
As soon as I get that in my box, I will call the rest of the members and call a meeting as soon as possible.
Perfect.
Anything else, Mr. Carroll?
No.
Thank you very much, sir. Ansonia Housing Authority, Joan Radin, please.
At the meeting a week and a half ago, actually 2 weeks ago, we started the meeting. It was very nice. Bob Henderson was there. He was moving along very nicely. I've been going there now for at least 4 years, maybe 5 years. We've moved along in the last year or so. Tremendous amount. And the meeting went along nice, and they called an executive session. And I'm not sure everybody knows, but the man was fired. We don't know why he was fired. He was doing a good job, and I guess you're fired if you do a good job, and you give him prizes if you cheat. So I was very upset because I've worked with the man he went to all of the meetings and all the things that he's been doing, and he was doing a great job.
Mr. Carroll, please.
I'd like to add to that. I'm also a representative of the Housing Authority. They went into executive session without posting it. They did not notify the person that they fired. They did not notify the legal person with the Housing Authority. They went into executive session illegally. They fired him in the middle of executive session, did not vote on it out of executive session. And there are 2 members of the Housing Authority that are new. One has, at that point, went to 2 meetings. The other one was only there that one night. He has never attended a meeting before, and they fired the gentleman. The next email that I got was that the Housing Authority decided to put their legal person out to bid again. I don't understand this because 2 months ago, they gave their counsel a 5-year contract.
We still haven't heard anything on why the man was fired or what's going to happen there. And unfortunately, I do believe that, as Randy said, somebody changed the executive session at the beginning of the meeting, put other information on, which of course is illegal. The gentleman was not notified prior to the meeting to be there or what the problem was. I think it was very unfortunate for him. I feel very bad because he was doing a tremendous job.
Can I just add one more thing?
Well, Mr. DeLibero I got you, Frank. Mr. DeLibero had his hand up, then we'll go back to Randy.
Hi, Mr. President. I think issues like this should be discussed in a sidebar when it gets into specifics as far as termination or whatever. Committee reports should be very specific about updating us what's going on, and these personnel issues should be discussed in a sidebar later to be addressed in the
Excuse me,
executive session.
Alderman
Excuse me.
DeLibero, I understand that, but can I just explain to you?
Sure.
This is at the meeting. This is what happened at the meeting, and I think the public should know about it too.
All the facts should be brought together on a sidebar and then discussed.
No, I don't think it should be.
That's your opinion.
Yes,
I
it is, and
I address my
I'm on the
comments.
committee, you're not.
That's fine. I address my comment to the President of your protocol. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeLibero. Mr. DeLibero, is that all you?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I see Mr. Carroll's hand up.
I respect what you're saying, I really do. But I think what Joan and I are doing is we're giving a report of a commission that we represent for the Board of Aldermen and what happened during that meeting.
Correct.
That's it, just what happened during that
And
meeting.
I understand that, but personal matters should be discussed in a private matter.
Well, if they did, I'm not, fine.
I'm done.
Fine, me too.
Okay, thank you. Any other committees that I might have overlooked? Any other committees that I might have overlooked? Okay, thank you. Municipal reports. Okay, I jumped ahead, now back to vote recommendations. We have 3 motions here for vote recommendations. One regarding arms, one regarding the Nature Center, and one regarding the library. I'll entertain a motion from Mr. Vaccaro, please.
I move that we accept all 3 approvals as approved by both.
Is there a second by Mr. Genetti? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I'll take a motion on comptroller approvals.
Motion to approve?
Mr. Carl, seconded by Dr. Josh Stewart. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. And segue with that, you have your Ansonia land use report, monthly report. I'll entertain a motion on that. To accept. Dr. Stewart.
Motion to accept the land use report.
Seconded by Frank DeLibero. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Castellitis, please, tax collector report and request for refunds.
I make a motion to accept the tax collector's report and request for refunds in the amount of $2,760.14 upon being correct.
Okay, is there a second on that? Mr. Pat Henry, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay. Let's see, there is a claim against the city. I'll entertain a motion by Mr. Martin Dempsey.
Make a motion to refer to Corporation Council.
Is there a second on that? By Mr. Randy Carroll. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, we have some communications here. The first one that Mr. Greg Martin spoke about, okay, regarding the United Way, was nice enough to grant us the funds so we can have some community gardens. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to accept communication report.
And, all right, is there a second by Mr. Genetti? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Communication number 2, our two registrar of voters, Mr. Thomas Maffio and Nancy Valentine, both went to get their accreditation, and they had the final exam on April 13th and passed us. For the record, they both have certificates from the Secretary of State's office. I'd like to congratulate them on that and submit for record. Okay. Communication number 3, this is in regards to the bid process in regards to the Ansonia Armory masonry restoration. Mr. Vaccaro, please.
I'd like to make a motion that we award the bid to GL Capasso in the amount of $387,300 for the repointing, et cetera, of the armory.
Is there a second on that by Mr. Carroll? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay. Communications number 4, 5, 6, and 7 are very similar in nature. This is all in regards to the bond referendum that the voters of the city of Ansonia approved. They're all basically similar in nature, and they refer to 4 separate pieces of equipment. I think we can, Mr. DeLibero, please.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we combine communications number 4, 5, 6, and 7 together for the purchase of the material needed to upgrade the ambulance.
And equipment. Second by Mr. Castellitis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay. We have communication number 8, proposal from the Valley Arts Council. If you'd like to look it over, they're interested in some space at the Ansonia Armory that we're going to have repointed in the very near future. Mr. Henry, please.
Mr. President, I've heard all the people speak. I'm on board with them. I think it's a great idea. Arts, music, anything for adults and children to do. It has to do with culture. It's a wonderful thing. I fully endorse it. I'm just concerned that the space, the armory, I don't know about these 2 rooms. I would kind of like this board to have a study, a reference, a recommendation from perhaps Public Works to look at these spaces. The American Legion meets in a room at the Armory, okay? And we did some painting and some lights and this and that, but you know, it's still a dump. So I want to make sure the window's open, the air is breathable, the lights aren't going to explode, things like that before we move ahead and say, yes, they can have this space. I just want to make sure it's a good space.
Okay, is that a motion?
So I make a motion that we get a recommendation from Public Works about the spaces before
You have
we
your hand up,
proceed.
Mr. Yalman?
Yeah,
Second by Mr. Yalman. All those in favor of Mr. Henry's motion?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved.
Do we have any communicate or any talk about it, or we can't discuss anything on it?
If you'd like to discuss, I mean.
Well, I don't know whether the rest of you read it. It says free and low-cost art programs. But it also says that they're talking about leasing property there to groups. And I believe if the city of Ansonia is going to let them use this, and we're going to carry the responsibility of things, that they should not be allowed to sublease it to anybody. That's just my opinion right now. It's not, like I said, I agree with Pat that we do need to look it over, but I don't like all of the statements in here.
Well, number one is, as Mr. Henry pointed out, is, the armory is in pretty rough shape. It is structurally sound. We have a new roof on it. I think the fire alarm system was put in, and other improvements, but still it's very rough, and I wouldn't say that certain rooms would get a certificate of occupancy right now. So we do need, sir, your name?
I'm Rich Nicolo from the Valley Arts Council, representing the Valley Arts Council and the president. The leases are minimal just to pay for they pay for art supplies that we give out to the community and any repair work.
That's
one bid on anything.
That's still using city property and collecting for.
It will go into the coffers for the projects and stuff like that.
But I think I agree with Pat. It should be looked at. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay. Motion stands. Thank you all. Okay. We have a late communication. We have a late commission. Mr. Joe Jowman, please.
Make a motion to pay the amount indicated for the referendum process.
To approve?
Yes.
To approve. By Mr. Castellitis. Any discussion? Any discussion on late communication number 1? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay. We have a couple of resignations here. What?
Mr. President, make a motion to accept resignations number 1 and 2, and send letters to each thanking them for their service to the city.
Thank you, Mr. Yalman. Is there a second on that? By Mr. Castellitis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. We have an appointment here for the Board of Enforcement and Taxation. Mr. David, if I pronounce it correctly, Papson, I guess? Mr. Libro, do you have your hand up?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve Mr. David Papson, 16 Chester Street, Ansonia, to be a member of the Board of Appropriation and Taxation.
Is that a second, Mr. Yalman?
Yes, it is.
Second by Mr. Yalman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. You're Sorry I had to sit through the whole meeting. Okay.
Wait.
All right. We have a resolution in front of us, amended resolution number 1, that the full board authorize a one-time payment in the amount of $1,700 to the individual designated to manage the city's social media services. I'll entertain a motion by Mr. Carroll. Second by Mr. Castellitis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Ordinance, I see none at this time. I hear none. New business, Allison Rubin already gave us the update on the Ansonia Nature Center. Any old business from any alderman? Mr. Frank DeLibero, please.
Yes, I don't know if you want to consider it new business, old business, but I think we should revisit the TVs in the Earling Hauser room. We're having big meetings here now, and we have crowds of people standing outside who can't hear what's going on, who want to speak, who can't get into this room. I think we should reconsider doing something in that room. Yes, Ms. O'Meara.
I think part of the reason why you have such big crowds is the PowerPoint presentations.
And the popcorn.
I think that's incorrect.
Okay.
But I think we should revisit, maybe putting something in there in the future, near future.
It can be on a future agenda. It's all I could say, Frank, is this year we have a very tight budget. This city is financially strapped right now. I mean, even if you're talking $6,000 or $7,000 for monitors, it's going to be a tough. So that's all I had. Joan Radin, please.
Okay, it's same old story again. The agendas are not done until 12 o'clock on Friday. I'm sorry. I like to know what's going on at least by Thursday and be able to pick it up. I couldn't pick mine up until Monday morning. Sheila was supposed to deliver it to me.
Yes, sorry.
And you forgot.
Yes, I'm
Or
sorry,
didn't,
Joe.
or didn't have it, I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't know about anybody else, but I feel it's important.
Agreed.
Because all of the reports that were in my box on Wednesday for all the departments, I just can't see any reason for it not getting in at least by Thursday morning. I would like to pick up it in my box Thursday morning.
Agreed. Agreed, Joan.
Thank you.
Any other old business? Okay. With that in mind, we're done with our agenda except for executive session. Mr. Marini, what guidance do you have for executive session?
We need Mayor Cassetti.
Okay.
Sheila O'Malley. Rich Bashara, Chief Hale, and our appraiser, Vinnie Guardiano.
Okay. All right. Mr. Frank DeLibero, please.
I'd like to make a motion that we move to executive session.
Second by Mr. Castellitis. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Thank you, and thank you all for coming. Yeah, 5-minute break for the Aldermen. It's pretty darn close. I'll tell Mr. Marini to hurry up.
Good idea.
Cliff.